Alrighty, we are live in the living color. Welcome to another fantastic episode of This Week in Reselling, where we interview special guests each and every week from different walks of life in the reselling world. Here we'll discuss the highs and lows in reselling and dive into great conversation. We are positive that you're going to learn something that's going to help you become a better reseller. I am your host, Ray, and I am joined with my co-host, Dustin. Dustin, how are you today, sir?
It's been a good day. It's been a good day.
All right.
Yep.
So today we have our guest for the show, none other than the Junk Monkey, aka Rob. Now, a lot of people don't even know your first name, Rob. They just know you as the Junk Monkey, the monkey logo, if you will.
Kyle.
Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle.
Where did that come from?
Philly Flipper, Paul.
Oh, Paul.
Was watching one of his live shows one night. Somebody put him on the spot because he said he was great with the names and he got the guy's name. So I'm like, what's my name? He couldn't remember my name.
Oh, it's hard.
Kyle. And now even like a year and a half later, everybody still thinks my name is Kyle.
Well, we're here to set the record straight.
Steve, so it's all right.
Right.
My first piece of merch, the first T-shirt I have made up is going to say "Still Not Kyle."
Still not Kyle. I like it.
I like it.
So, Rob, for the people that may not know you, can you give us a little brief introduction of who Rob the Junk Monkey is? I know that we were talking a little bit before. Part-time, but really full-time reseller. You got a full-time job
these days, but I still have my regular job as a watchmaker, which antique, vintage, and luxury watches have been my niche on eBay for 25 years. And so I would accumulate old watches and I'd fix them up, sell them for a little extra money on the side. But when the shutdown started happening, 3 years ago now?
Uh-huh.
We closed our shop to the public. We were still working, but we cut our hours way back. 3 years later, we have still not restarted our regular working hours, although we have reopened to the public. So I get 4 days a week, about 4 hours at a time to try to make a living off of watchmaking. And it's just not happening. I make more money reselling.
Wow. But I know that you sell other things, but I'm sure your expertise as a 37-year watchmaker, like what's the percentage of watch-related items to your non-watch-related items that you have listed on eBay?
I'm still an active watchmaker. So when it comes to parts, I have hundreds of thousands of new old stock and vintage and antique parts and tools. Watches, I used to do, maybe a dozen a month, and then I would save like the best dozen for this time of year. Between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I would put 12 of the best watches I was able to accumulate through the year. Nowadays, I have somewhere in the neighborhood of 600 listings, and less than 5% of them are watches.
Less than 5% of them are watches.
Less than 5% are watch related.
Wow.
However,
Okay.
it is still my biggest money maker over the course of a year.
Is the watch stuff.
Right.
Wow. So
when you can sell a single watch for up to $10,000 to $20,000.
Yeah.
And then you sell 5 or 6 of those in a year.
Wow. Yeah. It's funny how that works. It's like
that price over the year.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's like 5% of your inventory makes up the 95% of your income.
Well, maybe 75.
Or 75. Okay.
But
gosh, that's crazy. So, 37 years watchmaker. How does that happen?
Well, not quite 37.
Okay.
I started out working on fishing reels when I was probably 8 or 9 years old. And right before I joined the Navy in the late 80s, my grandfather gifted me my great-grandfather's pocket watch. It was not working. So I'm stationed in San Diego. I'm going all over the biggest city I've ever been to at the time. And everybody
Navy?
Yeah, I was in the Navy for 11 years. And the whole time I was there, all over San Diego, none of the jewelers could fix it. They all wanted to box it up and ship it off somewhere. Then it occurred to me one day that, the United States government trusts me to work on multi-billion-dollar nuclear submarines. I should be able to tinker on a 100-year-old watch.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, you're
That's
right.
how I got my start. So I started going to yard sales, flea markets, swap meets, as they call them in California, and just picking up junk watches and tinkering on them. And one day I actually repaired one. And I've been at it ever since. And 26 years ago, I got lucky and landed a 5-year apprenticeship under a master Rolex watchmaker.
Wow.
So I spent 5 years starving and living in a little one-bedroom apartment, learning my trade. I had been at it. I'd already been repairing watches for 10 years at the time, and I thought I was good. Yeah, he taught in the first year, he taught me how much I didn't know.
Yeah. So you did that for 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to be an apprentice for 5 years before you can go to Rolex and challenge the bench, they call it.
What is that?
Well, I went to Dallas, and what they do is they set you at a bench and they hand you one watch after another. Most Rolex watches, men's and women's will have one caliber of movement, and the women's will have another caliber of movement, and then there's the chronographs. So there's only three basic movements at the time, and you would have to diagnose what's wrong with them, take them apart, clean them, service them, repair them, put them back together, regulate them, turn it in, and they would rate you on how you did.
Wow.
That's insane.
That's a crazy world. So 5 years apprenticeship, you challenged the bench. I'm guessing you passed the test.
Oh yeah.
And then from there you started your own watchmaking business, or how does that work?
I had my own watchmaking business before that. I was actually at the time working for a authorized dealership and working in their repair shop, not only as a watchmaker, but also a full bench jeweler. I make jewelry, set diamonds, cut gemstones. So anything to do with the watch and jewelry related industry on the upper echelons, I do it. I am also a gem prospector and a miner. So I can do everything from going out and getting raw materials right out of the ground, bring them home, and take it all the way to a finished piece of jewelry with cut gemstones and everything.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So where does eBay come into play here?
Well, early on, I would, when eBay first came out, there was also Yahoo auctions, a couple other little small ones I don't remember. And I had a business partner at the time who was big into the tech world. He even had his own internet service provider business. And he introduced me to eBay. I mean, this was early on, late 97, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And so I started just selling, I was working on watches, collecting watches, and I'd buy up collections. I'd have all these watches that I didn't know what to do with because nobody in Silsbee, little tiny town in East Texas. Funny fact, Silsbee, Texas is where Mark Henry, the wrestler, is from. My whole
nice. Strongest man in the world.
Yep.
Yeah. But, there's only, 1,500 people in the whole area. So there's not a whole lot of, buying and selling of nice watches going on. So I started selling on eBay. And
That's
I've been at it ever since. And about 3 years ago, I went down a rabbit hole on YouTube. I was trying to come up with ways to make my watches that I sell more marketable. And at the time, there was a new style of leather watch band coming out. It was real thick leather, real simple, but heavy duty, rugged looking. And I'm like, I've worked with leather. I could make these. So I go down a rabbit hole watching these YouTube videos. And they kept trying to show me these shoe repair videos. And I was really bored one night. So I just watched one of them. And then he starts talking about, yeah, you can sell these on eBay now. I'm like, ain't nobody buying no used shoes on eBay. Little did I know.
A lot of people
I now have about 150 pair on eBay.
Gosh, that's crazy.
And then, so I started watching what else can you sell on eBay? And then, the algorithm starts pumping all these eBay reselling videos out to me. And I'm like, my God, I've been selling on eBay for 25 years and I didn't know any of this stuff. And I'm like, there's no way people are buying this stuff. So let me go to the Goodwill and find some. I go to the Goodwill, I buy a cart full of the stuff that everybody says sells on eBay, bring it home and take pictures of it. And lo and behold, people bought it. And then the pandemic hits. We can say that word now, right?
Yeah, say it.
Yeah.
COVID, pandemic.
Yeah, well,
Was
all
another
that crap hit the fan.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got to make some money. So I just started hitting the thrift stores and the bins and yard sales and anything I could to make a living. And next thing I know, I'm making more money selling used stuff than I am working on Rolex watches.
That's so wild to me. I guess but like you were saying earlier, you know, you can sell a watch for like 10 grand, which makes up a lot of your, you know, but you got to find that right buyer.
Oh yeah. Well, the watch collecting world is huge.
I'm addicted to these. I follow a couple of TikTok accounts where all they do is do live Rolex watch negotiating. It's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything about watches, so
Nope.
I just think it's fascinating.
Rolex is always a good name. As a reseller, when you're out picking, if you run up on a Rolex, there's about a 98.973% chance that it's not real.
Really? Okay.
Really.
That's really high. That's extremely high.
It's very high. There's probably more fake Rolexes in the world than there are genuine ones.
Oh, I believe it. What's a good tell?
The weight.
The weight. Okay.
I can tell from across the room, and I do it all the time, and it aggravates people. So I've had to learn to bite my tongue.
Oh,
And
yeah.
wait till after they hand it to me. And as soon as they hand it to me, I quickly glance down at it, hand it right back and say, sorry, it's fake.
So you can tell before they even hand you the watch, you're like, fake. You can tell across the room just because you've been dissecting them and looking at them for so many years.
Right.
Wow.
There's Rolex, anything of quality has a look, a feel, and a heft to it.
It makes
That
sense.
cannot be faked. You hand me a pot metal or base metal plated watch that's beat up, sharp edges from the erosion, chemical erosion from the cheap plating coming off the corners, and it feels tinny and fake and light, and you know, it's got all these little sharp jagged edges on it, and you can see the plating wearing off the corners and high spots, and it's just Rolex doesn't do that. Nothing of quality does that.
Oh, I can imagine. Where is Rolex? Is it made in Italy, France, Switzerland? Oh, that makes sense. Yeah,
It's
that makes
actually
sense.
owned by the people of Switzerland.
Wow. Okay, so it's not like private owned company. It's like the government or the
It's
people.
publicly owned. It's owned by the nation of. It's not owned and operated by the government of. They are, you know, they have a board and chairman and executives and all that. But the company in and of itself is owned by every citizen of Switzerland.
Wow. I would love to take it. Have you ever taken a trip to Switzerland?
No, I haven't.
No? Okay. All right. Well, let's say hi to some people in the chat because I know we got talking. And
Hey, Marie.
I love hearing about this. We have Rachel's in the building. We have
Rachel.
Marie. Marie is saying hello. We have Ken SSK
Ken.
Promo is in the building. We have Coco and Chewy.
Hey guys.
Good to see you. And then guys, Marie just dropped Rob's channel, so
Hey, I
we do have
appreciate
his link tree down in the description below. So if you guys want to check that out, follow him on Instagram. Follow him on YouTube, and you go live every Wednesday night.
Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So you'll have to work that out for your time zone.
Do you live in California currently, Rob?
No, I'm in Oregon.
You're in Oregon. Oh, wow. So California to Texas to Oregon? Did I get that right?
Yeah, born and raised in Texas. My dad was in the Navy. I was in the Navy. So I've traveled the entire world. Been traveling all over the place most of my life. I've lived in Italy, East Coast, West Coast, points in between. So,
Okay, nice. All right, and we have Christopher Nutter is in the building. Good to see you, Chris. Glad that you can make it
Chris.
on. And we have Alan. Good to see you, Alan.
Hi, Alan.
Hope that you're still going to the bins. We miss seeing you there. And we have Scott Cha-Ching King. He has a great
There he
question. If you guys have any questions for Rob, put them down in the comments. We would love to answer those to the best of our abilities. Scott is saying, question for Junk Monkey. Do you restore watches?
In fact, I do restore watches. Right now, I have about a 6-month backlog of work that I'm trying to get through, because come October the 1st, 2023, I am going to retire from working directly for the public.
20 October, a month, or
no
11 months.
Q4 of next year, I'm going to retire from the easily accessible by the general public. I'm going to move my shop here to the house. In fact, I've already got a bench set up over here, and I've got every tool I need right here at home to do it. But I want to conglomerate all my tools, all my parts, get it all organized, and then I'm going to retire from the shop. And I'll just work on my watches and the occasional high-end watch. So
do you have any, what's the coaching tree looking like here, Rob? Do you have any what do they call them?
An apprentice.
Padawans? Padawans?
I've had one.
Okay.
In all the years, I've had one actually move forward.
Really?
Every apprentice I've had except one has quit me after 2 weeks, tops.
Why is that, Rob? Is it because you're really hard?
It's not hard. It takes attention to detail beyond what most people have ever had to do. And it's not all. It's a lot of crap work, to put it honestly, or what they perceive to be crap work, like polishing. The first thing I try to teach an apprentice is how to polish. And quite honestly, it's the most important skill in watchmaking and jewelry making. If you repair somebody's watch and you hand it back to them and it's got a piss poor polish on it, that's the first thing they see. And if you don't have the patience and the skill to polish something, which is the first thing that your customers
going to see. It's like the fundamentals, yeah.
It's a fundamental thing, and if you can't do that, they're going to think you don't have what it takes to work on what's inside the watch.
Wow.
So every one of them quit me except one.
Wow.
And he's the only one to make it through the polish. In fact, he's gone on. I talked him into going to an actual school instead of trying to do it the hard way like I did. So he went to an actual school, and this kid was already a medical professional, making like $80,000 to $100,000 a year as a respiratory therapist.
Wow!
And so he quit that job. He went back to Pennsylvania, got into a school there, and went in 2 years worth of school. Made it on the front of a Horological Times, which is a magazine for watchmakers.
On the front cover.
He's on the front cover.
That's amazing.
Told a story about him.
That's awesome. So, what is the world? So what does that world look like right now, Rob? Is there a lack of?
It's in turmoil.
Skilled watchmakers, or
there's a huge lack of skilled watchmakers, but there is no shortage of unskilled workers out there.
Okay.
There's a lot of people out there giving watchmakers a bad name. There's a lot of people out there, they got their degree from YouTube University. And there are very, very few YouTube watch repairmen out there who are putting out good information on how to repair watches. I know because I have to work after a bunch of them.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how does that happen? Like, say I have a watch. I take it to someone that I think is a good watch repair guy.
Right.
I get it back. The polish is poor. And I'm like, I got to find a good one. I got to find you. I got to find Junk Monkey. How do I find Junk Monkey? Like, is there a blog to where it's like, these are the certified Rolex?
You know, when I was on Facebook, there were a lot of up and coming groups, and I'm still sure there's still some out there. But there's a guy down in Houston that I could point people towards. Me, like I said, I'm in the last year of my public career. I will still continue to work on watches until I completely go blind. But there's not many skilled watchmakers out there. There's some good, solid craftsmen, But the vast majority of people working on watches out there, even in high-end jewelry stores, they don't know what they're doing.
Gosh, that's crazy. Such a dying art.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and it's a shame. There used to be watchmaking schools all over the place. Right now, I think there's maybe 3 left in the United States. There's one in Lidditz, Pennsylvania. There's one up in Seattle, I think, and there's one down in Paris, Texas.
Wow.
I think there's one more, but I'm not sure where it's at.
We're gonna have to open one, Rob.
Yeah, I was actually invited to teach at the one in Paris,
Yeah,
Texas.
that would be
Yeah, I'm not a teacher. I'm an instructor.
Oh, okay.
So it's big difference.
Big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why you only had one, right? No,
Pretty
I'm just
much,
kidding.
yeah. No, that's actually exactly why.
They just couldn't.
I couldn't scare
handle
this
it.
kid off, and I tried.
Oh well, that's good. That's good.
And
He's in
well-
it for the right reasons, for sure.
Yeah.
So we have Drew's in the building. Drew Strickland, good to see you. And we have Collinson on the move. Good to see you. Glad that you can
Collins on the
stop by. And we have Rachel's in the building. I think I already said hi to Rachel.
Said hi to Rachel.
Yeah. And let's see here. Question for Rob. Why did you shave that beard? Great question.
The
Great
official
question.
story is as a birthday present for my wife. She was not a fan of the big beard.
She doesn't like the beard.
No, she did not.
Wow. My wife is
The actual reason, it's a secret. I was working in my shop and I had a propane heater and I burnt right up the center. So
wow.
I look like something out of Tolkien with these 2 big forks of a beard.
That's crazy. I'm going to I'm trying to get this No Shave November, so if you guys see me like patchy, I'm trying to get the beard, at least the cheeks to grow in a little bit.
You cannot trim your way to a big beard. Let it
That's
grow.
true. That's
Let
true.
it grow, keep it clean, keep it moisturized. Just let it grow.
Okay. Nice.
Neck
Nice.
too.
Those are good
No
tips.
trimming the edges, no lining up. Just let it grow.
Huh.
Okay.
I was
All
getting
right.
patient with that and have to trim the nails.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why most people can't grow a big beard. Just let it grow. Ask
This is a
Drew,
good-
he'll tell you.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Great question by Christopher here, Rob. What's the most common watch you end up repairing?
Oh wow. You know, that's kind of a loaded question because there are a lot of watch companies out there that all use the exact same movement, which is the guts of the watch, the engine, so to speak. So Citizen and Seiko kind of run neck and neck because they make the majority of the world's watch movements.
That makes sense. So it's like there's so much of them. It's like,
Right.
you know, you're going to work on Ford and Chevys more than you're going to work on
Lamborghinis.
Bentleys and Rolls Royces, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. We have Kristen and Rule Squirrel is in the building.
Hey,
Good to see you, Kristen. All right. So, Rob, let's get into the first segment of the show. We're going to talk about watches a little later on.
Okay.
We're going to go with the overrated, underrated segment of the show. We're going to ask you 10 different questions, and you're going to let us know, or 10 different subjects, and you're going to let us know if they're overrated, underrated. All right?
All right, let's do it.
All right, but before we do that, we do want to give a shout out to the sponsor of a show, the good people over at poppinofftoys.com, one of the best places to sell, or one of the best places to purchase Funko Pops. So if you guys want to purchase some Funko Pops, go over to poppinofftoys.com and use the code NashvilleFlippers, and you're going to get 10% off. I see you're wearing some Star Wars gear, Rob, so we have some new Mandalorian Funkos. So if you guys want to pick those up, and we have the new Avatar Funkos. I'm not a big fan of Avatar, but
I
each
liked
his
the
own.
first movie, but
You like the first one? I'm not a big fan.
At the time, look how great the graphics were.
That's true. That's true. That is true. So if you guys want to purchase some Funkos, go over to poppinofftoys.com and use the code NashvilleFlippers. All right, so first one up, Rob. The new 24 pictures on an eBay listing. Overrated, underrated?
Overrated.
Let us know why.
Unless you have multiple items, you don't need 24 pictures.
Right.
I find it hard to even take more than 4 pictures of most items. Unless there's a lot of very specific little parts and pieces that you need to take pictures of or some flaws. But you can still do all of that in 12 or less.
Gotcha. Well, there you go, guys. Overrated. That's great. I love how Dustin and I were talking about this the other day. I love how eBay never gives us what we want. Like, you know,
They push
it's like,
this,
hey,
but not
Please
can't
get
make
rid of the
people pay.
layaway program, make people pay.
exactly.
Well, the best we can do is 12 more pictures.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's ridiculous. I saw Kristen real quick. We do a reseller draft Mondays. We're not gonna have one tomorrow. It's actually next week because Paul, the Philly Flipper, the person that I do the reselling draft Mondays, the Eagles play Monday Night Football tomorrow. So we're gonna take a break this Monday because he's a big Eagles fan, and we're gonna resume next Monday. I think it's the 21st, and we're gonna pick our favorite Thanksgiving foods.
Stuffing.
Rob, what's your favorite Thanksgiving food besides, you know, the big ones?
Stuffing, but only if it's
Stuffing?
real homemade cornbread dressing
Ooh, yeah. My wife makes a good stuffing.
with the andouille sausage and the eggs and the celery, all of it. Yeah.
Everything. Making me hungry.
What's the difference between dressing and stuffing? Is there a difference?
Stuffing can be anything, I guess. You stuff it in there, it's stuffing.
Okay. Are we making dressing this year, Dustin? Or is that on your plate? No pun intended.
No, I mean,
Okay.
bring
I don't know.
bring the leftovers from my parents' house.
Yeah, we're gonna figure. We're talking about that earlier today.
I don't know about
The
those
variety
turkeys, though.
Oh yeah, the price. Have you seen the price of turkeys, Rob?
No, do I want to?
What is it, Dustin?
That was totally fake, I think. But
But no, the price of turkeys is going up like per pound.
Well, you know what? Bacon and beef is both up. Why wouldn't
Yeah.
turkey go up?
That's true. That's
eating
true.
ramen noodles for Thanksgiving this year.
This is totally off the beat, like super. You know, we were talking about beef, and you know, I was listening to a podcast earlier, and they had someone on there that was he had a regenerative farm. You know, he doesn't use any pesticides or whatever.
Right.
And he had the rain. He had a neighbor that also has a farm, and it was raining, and so the runoff off of his farm goes into a creek.
Yeah.
And literally, the difference between the runoff of his neighbors and his creek water is like night and day. It's like crystal clear to like muddy water.
Right.
So, I don't know. I love a good beef though.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, let's get back on track. Number 2, overrated, underrated, Dustin.
Sylvester Stallone.
Sylvester Stallone. I'm going to have to say he's underrated. He's one of those people in Hollywood that can make a movie that you can absolutely turn the rest of the world off and just have fun watching this action adventure movie.
There you
And I
go.
don't think he gets enough credit for that.
I think we need more action stars nowadays.
Well, I heard somebody in an interview recently say they can't make movies like that anymore. They can't make movies that are just fun to watch anymore.
That makes sense.
It's-
They spend too much money. They don't want to lose any money.
It costs so much money to build one. And once upon a time, they would have the movie and it would be in theaters forever. I mean, Raiders of the Lost Ark, when it first came out in my town, stayed in the theater and was packed house every night for like a year and a half.
Oh,
And then
how cool is
you would
that?
have to wait another year before the VHS would come out. And then you would have to wait another year for the made for TV version of it, or the edited for TV version would come out.
Yeah.
And they got royalty. Everybody involved with that movie got royalties every step along the way. Now it's in theaters for 6 weeks tops.
If
You go
that.
straight to streaming. And they don't even sell DVDs much anymore. I mean, or Blu-rays. Everything goes straight to streaming. And a lot of the companies, and especially the actors, they don't get royalties from the streaming.
Huh. I guess it's like the music industry.
Yeah,
a
that's
lot of
why
them.
they hate things like Napster.
Yeah. Huh. I never thought about that. Yeah, you're right.
If they're not getting
Gosh.
paid for it, I mean,
What's your favorite Sly Stallone movie?
oh man, put me on the spot. You know, I'm
If
gonna have
you
to
just
go
like the one that comes into your head, you're like, man, I really love that movie.
Rocky.
Rocky, yeah.
Yeah,
Wrote
that was
and
just,
directed.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. The story of how that movie even came to be could be a movie in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
if it wasn't for Henry Winkler, the Fonz, we wouldn't have got Rocky.
Tell us why. I don't know
Henry
the story.
Winkler was the very first person to ever see Rocky, the Rocky script.
Huh.
Somehow or another, he knew Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone shows up with his wife, his kid, and a dog to Hollywood, doesn't have a place to sleep. They're living out of their car or something, or some low rent hotel. And he gets in touch with Henry Winkler and gives the script to Henry. Henry takes it to one of the big
Producers.
companies. Well, no, the big company,
like MGM, isn't it?
I forget which one it was, NBC or Fox or whoever it was, and they bought the script. But Sylvester wanted to be in the movie, and he wanted creative powers and all of that. And he wanted, the royalties, and he wanted the whole shooting match. And this is his first script that he's ever wrote. So Henry goes in and sells it, comes back, and Sylvester's like, well, where's everything else I asked for? Winkler's like, you really wanted all that? He sent the Fonz back to the studio and made him get his script back.
That's crazy.
And then it took another year and a half for him to get somebody to help him produce his movie.
That's
but
wild.
During that time frame, the Fonz was helping him, keeping him alive, keeping him afloat, keeping him in work. And
that's awesome, man. He owes a lot to him.
A butchered version of it's what it should have been.
Yeah. And the story still goes on. I mean, like Creed, the new Creed movies, all that. Yeah.
Still going.
It's a great franchise.
It's one of those franchises that, everybody knows the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Everybody knows Star Wars, Star Trek. Nobody really talks much about Rocky.
Nope. Hashtag Rocky rocks. Yeah. Right, Dustin?
Rocky rocks.
There you go. We have our girl Jennifer Hayes in the building.
Hey,
Good to see you, Jennifer. Glad that you can stop by. Let's see. All right. Moving on. Number 3, eBay's live auctions.
I think it's overrated.
Overrated? Do you think it's actually going to be a thing?
Live auction thing. I think the entire live auction, everything is overrated.
Whatnot, everything.
I don't want to speak poorly of Whatnot, but I months ago before just as it was getting some traction, I tried to get on it. I had trouble. I had technical difficulties. Their customer service was not great. Finally got everything on there. I was able to get on as a buyer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm buying a few things here and there. And I had a buyer mess me over. Sent me a box full of junk that I didn't order, and the stuff that I paid for was not in there. And then he ghosted me and couldn't get any help from Whatnot. And it's like, eh. But the whole live auction thing, eventually people are going to wake up and they're going to say, this is no different than watching, one of the infomercial TV channels where they sell live on there. And
oh, wow. Yeah. Like QVC.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be, it's QVC, but now everybody has access to it.
I've never thought about it that way, Rob. That's interesting perspective.
Now, maybe I'm wrong. I know there's a lot of people out there doing really good with it.
I'm in the same boat that you are, though. I don't understand. Like you said, after the shininess of this wears off, it's not gonna, because they're pumping a lot of money into it.
Oh yeah.
And after they stop, I don't know where it's gonna be.
I think I was one of the first people to put the word out that eBay was doing the live auction thing now.
Mm-hmm.
They a couple of months ago they sent me invitations to be there with their first one, and I somewhere in my Instagram feed you'll see where I posted a picture of it within the last 2 or 3 months. I screenshot it and put it up.
Yeah. This Rachel's saying that QVC ain't closing down though, which is true.
No, they're not.
Yeah, and then someone's over here calling you old, which I completely disagree. You know, he may be a little older, but like you said earlier, if you can work on nuclear submarines and take apart Rolex watches, I think he knows what I think he knows about how to get
He
things
knows a
going
little
on and
something.
whatnot.
Yeah.
He knows a little some, but yeah, but he
He's
did
not
say it
wrong.
is a
I am
little.
getting older, and I do get it. And it was fun when I was on there buying, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of work to be done with it, and I don't know that you're going to garner a quality upper echelon of buyers in that market.
Mm-hmm.
Going to be a lot of. It's still going to be. I think it's going to be great for collectibles. Maybe not like vintage Rolex chronographs, but I think it's going to be great for Funko Pops. I think it's going to be great for comics, VHS,
Mm-hmm.
media, pop culture items, collectibles. I think it's absolutely fantastic for that.
But see, here's the thing. Here's the issue that I have with it. I'm not sitting down for an hour on my phone waiting for something to come up that
Right.
I might want.
Yep.
You know, if I want a Star Wars Funko Pop, a particular one, I'm going on eBay. I'm going on Mercari. I'm going on somewhere to buy it. Like, my time is way more valuable than me sitting on,
Right.
And then, that's me. That's how I think about it, Like, maybe I can, by the time,
The
I
allure
look,
is that you can get it cheaper.
but the
because
time,
it's still a new
I'm
thing.
like,
Yeah.
I'd rather spend my time doing something else. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't find, like I said, I'm anti whatnot. I don't get it.
I'm not.
And I'm not.
It's just not.
I'm
my,
anti.
It's not
I'm gonna
my
put
cup
a
of tea when I want a
no
shot
to
of whiskey.
whatnot.
No. To
What's that? What's that, Rob?
That ain't my cup of tea when I really want a shot of whiskey.
I agree. There you go. All right. Let's move on here. Number four. Oh, speaking of,
Yep, we've touched on this. Overrated, underrated. Turkey stuffing or dressing. I already know
I
the
forgot to
answer.
put that on there.
Cornbread dressing all the way.
Can't
There you
talk
go.
about it enough.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. All right, let's move on here. Number 5. This is a good one. Casio watches.
I think they're underrated as a desirable watch, but they're very overrated as far as their quality goes.
Okay. You see a lot of people buying Casio watches?
There is actually a following for the vintage Casio LCD watches.
Okay.
And the more complicated they were, the better.
Huh.
However, not many of them survived because the quality was just terrible, and still is to this day. They're creating the newer Casio stuff is they're making something for the public demand as cheaply as they possibly can, so they can get the highest return on their investment. When if they would just bump the quality up 10%, they could do the same thing with the price on the other end and get the same return on their investment and have a better watch out there.
There you go. Okay. Scott has a good point. Speaking, talking back to the whatnot and live auctions. I'm not anti live sales. I just don't need to do them right now. So that makes sense. Yeah. I just feel like I can get more money listing it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fun.
There's some celebrity-ish type people out there who have this huge social media following, not only in the reselling community, but in the vintage clothing community or whatever their niche is. Mm-hmm. And they're doing awesome at it. They're getting more for an item than what you or I could get for it on eBay. But if either of us put it on whatnot, we'd be lucky if we didn't lose money.
Yeah, I heard that. Here's a good point by Sonny. Good to see you, Sonny. I'm anti no sales. We all are for sure.
Sonny, how are you, brother?
Yeah. So, all right. Is that let's see. All right, moving on. Number 6, Dustin.
Yellowstone the show.
Say that again.
Yellowstone the show.
My wife watches it. I've caught a few episodes of it. Looks like a pretty good show. I think they went a little far over the top with it, but it's their show, not mine.
That's true. Yeah. But you enjoy the soap opera?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Not the soap opera part of it, but when it's time for things to get just gritty and nasty, they shoot for the moon on that show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There you go. All right. It's Kristen says she's watching Yellowstone right now. No spoilers. No spoilers.
Yep,
Today
we
is
still
the
gotta watch it
season
tomorrow.
premiere. Yeah, no spoilers. So, all right, moving on. Number 7, this is a good one. Selling clothing on eBay, Rob.
That's a hard one for me to answer. I've only recently started doing clothing other than, finding something really great like a Patagonia puffer jacket. Now I'm into just any kind of jeans that I can sell, or I've started bringing in a lot more clothing, and I haven't been doing it long enough and haven't made enough sales at it yet to make a decision.
Okay, that's fair. That's very fair analysis here. Spoiler alert. She says they're all still hot. So, here we go. Everyone in the comments, which character do you think Kristen and Rule Squirrel likes the most? Is she Kevin Costner man? The Rip? What's the KC character? What are all the other ones, Dustin?
Oh god, Jamie,
the lawyer. So there you go. Let us know.
I'm more of a Rip guy.
You're more of a Rip guy?
Yeah.
But who does Kristen like? I'm gonna go with the Rip guy. Maybe she likes that.
She likes Rip too.
I think she likes Rip. Rip is the Rip's the man for sure. Do you need me to answer? Well, yes. We'll need you to answer after some answers come through here. Yes, we need you to answer for sure. She probably likes that old guy. What's the old guy's name, Dustin?
Oh god, can't even think.
That like that young girl. You remember that?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Number 8.
Number 8. No.
Did I skip? Yeah, number 8.
7.
I did 7.
You did
selling clothing.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 8. Video games.
Video games.
Yeah. Not just selling video games in general. Does Junk Monkey play video games?
The last time Junk Monkey played a video game, it was Pitfall on the original Atari 2600.
Oh wow! Okay.
I tried playing some of the newer games, the ones with great graphics and all of that, and all these buttons. And yeah, you want to see some? I've probably hold a world record for the number of video game controllers crushed.
Oh.
Or
crushes some expensive things.
Like, I told you to go. Yeah, I have the patience of a saint to take apart a watch that's worth $20,000 plus. Put it together, but you hand me I like for machines to do what I tell them to do when I tell them to do it, and when they don't, it makes me very angry.
There you go. Okay, so overrated for Junk Monkey. There we
for
go.
Me personally.
All right.
I've got a little brother who's my daughter is a gamer.
Uh-huh.
But my little brother, he plays a lot of those big games and stuff, and I enjoy watching them. It's almost like watching an animated
movie. Yeah.
But if you hand me a controller, something bad's going to happen.
There you go. Speaking of cowboys, one of my favorite video games, and my wife loves this video game because, like you were saying, it's like a movie. Watching a movie is Red Dead Redemption 2, like the cowboy video game. She loves it. I would come home. She's like, "Are you gonna play the game? Can I watch you play the game?" She could not wait to watch me play the game.
I have to amend my previous statement. The last time I played video games was actually Link: The Legend of Zelda, the very first one, the original one on the NES.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Rolled it over once and made it about halfway through the second.
That's a hard game too.
Eh.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Kristen, in order. Luke, Cole, and Costner. Which one's Luke?
Oh, yeah,
don't know who
those
that
are
is.
actual names. I don't know their actual
I
names.
guess,
other
yeah,
than
we don't
Kevin
know the
Costner.
names. Give us the character names.
Yeah, there we go.
Let's see here. King is saying, I don't like to watch series, just too much. This is true. This is true.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Sunny says, last game I played was Cat and Mouse. That's with Carla. Won and said, no more games for me. Okay. Red Dead Redemption. Yeah, LOL. All right. Let's see here. Moving on. Number 9, flea markets, or, like you were saying earlier, swap meets.
Man, I love a good flea market. I got my start in the flipping world at a flea market in Jacksonville, North Carolina. And unfortunately, here in Oregon, we don't have any.
That's
We
weird.
have one. We have one that comes around once or twice a month, and it's the same dealers with the same stuff every month. So I love a good swap meet or flea market. I just wish I had some around me.
You need to come down south. We'll take you
Yeah.
to some flea markets.
Man,
I bet there were some good ones in Texas.
The Florida Georgia line
Uh-huh.
on I-95 over there. Right there on the Florida side, there was a massive flea market. I used to go out there almost every weekend.
Florida Georgia Line, not to be confused with Florida Georgia Line.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Florida Georgia Line song, Dustin?
I don't know. I don't listen to country.
You listen to Florida Georgia Line, you know their songs.
No.
Well, he's right. He doesn't listen to country.
What does he listen to, Rob?
Well, if Florida Georgia Line, that's not country.
That's true. That is true. Good point. Yeah. Casey Dutton, Rip Wheeler, and John Dutton. Okay.
Rip was
Casey, his
Casey
wife
kind
is
of
so
plays
annoying.
The lawyer is the lawyer character.
Casey,
right?
no, that's Jamie. Casey's the other brother, the one that's married to the Native American girl.
The one that kind of looks like Jax off
yeah.
Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, all right, moving on. Last one here, Rob. Number 10.
Oh, soccer World Cup, overrated, underrated.
Are you a soccer
Don't
fan?
hate me. I am not.
Okay.
I got nothing against it, but I'm not a soccer fan.
Okay. Just too boring.
Growing up, the only people who played soccer where I'm from were girls.
Okay.
It's a born and raised. The way I came up, to me, that is a girls' game, and it didn't become an everybody big sports thing in America until I was already a grown man, and it was just never something I connected with.
Gotcha. That's fair. All right. So that concludes our segment of the show, overrated, underrated. Thank you so much for answering those questions, Rob. So
A little long-winded on some of those.
no, I like it. I like hearing your perspective on certain things. Dustin, do we have a Dustin tip of the week this week?
Yeah, I got maybe.
All right. So next one up, Dustin's tip of the week, presented to you by stickerwise.com. Use the code flippers and you're going to get 10% off. Dustin, what is the tip of the week?
All right, it's getting cold outside. This is for those of you that have their office in the garage. Get your heaters and get your gloves that you can use your phone with. Stay warm while you're posting.
Okay.
They got gloves you can use while you post.
Oh yeah, they got gloves that you can. That's touchsure. I guess compatible.
Like for your phone.
Yeah.
I need to get me some of those.
Yeah, those are.
There you go.
Saver.
Rob, is your shop outside?
Yeah.
Do you have like a
this is a big.
there?
I am sitting right now in a 2.5 car garage that's detached from my house.
Okay.
I've got power out here, but that's it.
Okay. I bet it gets cold up there in Oregon.
It's very cold. Here in the valley itself, it doesn't get as bad as surrounding mountains.
Gotcha. Okay. Scott says he's got to go. Good to see you, Scott. Glad you can stop by. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on this Sunday evening. So there you go, guys. Dustin's tip of the week presented to you by stickerwise.com, one of the best places to get stickers, and you can save 10% off by using the code FLIPPERS. All right, so This is going to be a good one, Rob. So next segment of the show, skip or flip. I'm going to show you 3 different pictures of items that recently sold on eBay. And you're going to let us know if you would purchase them. Skip or flip, right?
All right, let's do it.
And
All
Ray
right,
has
and I
done 30 of these, and they all have been flips.
Well,
So
all right, first one up. Maybe I'm going to switch it up here, Dustin. You never know.
I don't know.
All right, first one up here.
They're not in your favor.
Here we go. We have here Scott.
Oh,
Oh,
skip that thing in a freaking heartbeat. Those things are junk. And I know they sell, but I'm a watchmaker. I refuse to work on them. I know they're junk. That
Okay.
right there is a
People love
negative
them.
feedback waiting to happen.
so for the people listening to at home, we have a brand new Invicta watch. You can see the price tag on here. It says $995, Rob. What do you think about that? You think it's sold for that much?
I think they charged about $987 too much. And it didn't sell for that much. They always go on sale more often than not 50 to 60% off.
So this is an Invicta Pro Diver.
Mm-hmm.
So
Go diving with that watch, you're going to die.
why? Tell us why, Rob.
Because it is a low quality piece of junk.
Why?
It
Tell
is
us.
what we call in the industry a fashion watch. It is made
Fashion.
to look like what is popular, not work like what is real and popular.
Okay.
Could you expand on that comment for like what works and is popular? Like, what do you mean by that statement?
The crown, okay. This is what's known in the industry as a tool watch, or in the collectible world as a tool watch. Which
Like
means
only people that are tools wear the watch?
no, as the watch itself is an actual tool. It
Okay.
has a function beyond telling time. It's supposed to be able to tell time in very adverse environments. Diving watches, you're 300 feet down. The big knob on the side by the number 15, that's called the crown.
Okay.
It is attached to a thin little piece of very brittle steel that is about 0.6 millimeters. You touch that crown wrong, it snaps, your watch floods with water. You have no way to judge your ascent to do your stops to keep you from getting the bends. You wear that watch under the water, you can very easily get the bends, so to speak. Or not so to speak, actually, that watch will kill you if you take it under the water.
Wow. Okay.
And
So
it is a cheap piece it's not made with quality parts and pieces. Its sole function is to look like a tool, not to actually be a tool.
Okay. Gotcha. So why do you think this actually sold? Why is there a retail sticker for $995?
Because they're very popular. In this particular one, instead of having a Chinese quartz movement in it, it's probably got a Swiss quartz movement in it. And that quartz
Okay.
movement probably cost $12.95.
So, Rob, what are you doing here? Are you skipping? Are you
Oh,
flipping?
I skip this thing in a heartbeat. I would not sell one of these because I know how poorly made they are. If you sell an Invicta watch on eBay, you have a very high chance of getting a negative feedback.
Okay.
Interesting.
So what do you think this sold for on eBay, Rob?
On eBay, I would say it sold somewhere in the $200 to $230 range.
Okay. So you think it actually sold for that much money, but you would not even touch it?
I think it would because the person who bought it didn't know any better. But anybody who actually knows watches, you couldn't pay them to take that watch. So the people buying are more attached to the fashion part of it than the actual horological part of it.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Let's
Go ahead, surprise me. Show me what some sucker paid for it.
Ryan just jumped in the building. Good to see you, Ryan. Glad you could stop by. So, okay. So what are you doing, Dustin? You flipping or you skipping?
If I got it for $1.25.
Come on, let's be realistic here.
Okay, if I found it at the Gimme Five. $5. Yeah. But
No. Okay, let's say you found this at Ross in the case.
Ross dress for less, $19.99.
Okay.
Let's go with that.
All
I'd
right.
I'd take a chance on it. I look up the comps. Then I put in the disclaimer at the bottom: do not wear swimming.
Do not go
I'm
down.
covered. So I'm covered.
That's fine. All right. So this watch,
That watch is
just
not
so,
new, by the way. See the links sitting in the box? Somebody's had it partially disassembled.
Yeah,
Oh.
someone's
It's been
gonna.
worn.
so no, those aren't just like extra links.
Nope, they don't send them extra links loose like that.
Oh,
That watch is
okay.
not new.
so
Okay.
it's used.
It's just
That's-
complete in box. All the parts and pieces are in the box. They're not
That's a good
together
point.
like they're supposed to be, but they're all there.
So it's kind of like the Spanish version of Turbo Man.
Turbo the yeah. All right.
Except that's
So
an
this
IKEA watch. Some assembly required.
Yeah.
all right. So this watch just sold on eBay for $47.
Yeah.
So there you go. Someone knew what they were purchasing. You know, for
I have
$47.
customers bring me those things all the time. I just hand them back to them, tell them I can't work on them.
Oh wow. Because they're better off just buying another crappy watch, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a QVC style watch. They sell those things by the metric ton on the shopping networks. Coming soon to you on Whatnot.
Nice. There you go. All right, here we got another watch. Let me know. Skip or flip, Rob?
I would flip that watch. That
Okay.
is a Timex Ironman Digital Diver 200 meters. That is actually a very sought after watch. And Timex is very near and dear to my heart as a watchmaker. And there's a great story. If it wasn't for Mickey Mouse, that watch would not exist.
So is Casio and Timex the same thing? Because this
Ooh.
one says Casio on it.
Scroll back to another picture. That's a G-Shock.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it says Frogman. I thought it said Iron Man.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the-
Okay.
Oh, I see that right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a G-Shock.
I'm still flipping that.
Yeah. G-Shocks are eminently popular amongst even the higher upper echelon of watch collectors.
Really?
If I can get that watch for less than $50, I'm going to flip it all day, every day. And it's one of the
35th
Casio
anniversary.
brands, one of the Casio lines that actually has a decent amount of quality behind it. So yeah, I'd flip that watch.
What are you paying for it, Rob?
Anything under 50.
50? And what do you think it's selling for?
I honestly, it's not the kind of watch that I would buy for myself. So I'm thinking that watch is over $100. I think it's over $150, maybe as much as $200.
Okay. Now it does say 35th anniversary on the
Of course
band
it
and on the
does.
back of it. So
You know what that kind of information means to a watchmaker?
nothing. Okay.
It's a sales point.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, Dustin, what are you doing?
I'm definitely flipping it. G-Shocks.
You flipping it?
Mostly money.
Okay. Ryan is saying flip and Maria is saying flip and Drew is saying it's tiempo turbo. It's turbo time. All right. So this watch just sold on eBay for $489.
That does not surprise me.
So there you go,
There
guys.
are
So
a lot of very high-end watch collectors in this world, and when asked what they wear daily,
they
8
wear
out
this.
of 10 of them will tell you a G-Shock.
Interesting. Okay.
They own literally $1 million watches, and they would rather wear a G-Shock.
Huh. Okay. That's good to know. That is good to know. All right. Last one here, Rob. This one's a little tricky. So I can't show you the last picture. And I might not have enough information just leading on the picture for this. But maybe you would know. Okay.
Well, we'll see.
Is it a turkey?
Those are supposedly links for a Rolex day-date presidential style bracelet. However, is there any way you could blow that picture up so I can see the pin closer?
The pin?
Yeah, can you make that picture big enough? Can you enlarge it big enough to where I can see that pin?
This pin right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you
I think
magnify
so.
that?
I think I can do it. I think I have to.
I think I've seen enough.
Okay.
If they're selling that as a Rolex Presidential links, they're not.
You don't think this is?
Those are not genuine Rolex links. But
How
that's
can
the
you
style.
tell?
The style, because that style is known as the Presidential link. It came out in the '60s, and it was given the name Presidential, and it's the bracelet, not the watch. The bracelet is called the Presidential because they gave, I believe it was Kennedy got one of the first ones. Yeah, that is not Rolex. Rolex doesn't use that plastic tube. And
this right here?
Yeah. The threads on the screw are not directly under the head. They're all the way at the other end.
Oh.
So that is not a genuine Rolex. Now, if that is an Audemars Piguet set of links, those might be real and 18 karat gold, and they may be worth some money. But if they're trying to say that this is, and now that I'm looking at it, we're looking at this from it looks like the backside, but if that's the top and it's flat like that, it's not Rolex. It's possibly Audemars Piguet. And if that's the case and they're real, they're probably worth somewhere between $250 and $350 if that's what it is.
So if this was a real Rolex link to a presidential date,
Day-date,
it would be a $300.
No, if it was Rolex, it'd be probably somewhere between $450 and $500 to $600, somewhere in there.
Just for these two little links.
Yeah, because the Rolex version of that style is solid 18 karat gold. Two links on a modern bracelet could easily be quarter of an ounce of gold, but that's not Rolex. That's if that is a high end watch, that's probably Audemars Piguet. And this screen is way too tiny for me to see that.
Yeah, let me look. I'm going to show you the last picture on here. You just probably saw the. It did sell for $550.
Oh, see this picture that you're showing here. That's different than the picture we were just looking at before.
Yeah, that was the backside of a.
Okay, it was the backside. Okay, that is not genuine Rolex. And if it sold,
it's the same. It's the same picture.
Okay.
And then they showed this.
Yeah.
At the end.
36.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the brand. One of the brand new. That's one of the newer ones. And I have not yet had a chance to work on one of those, the 36 millimeter day-date Presidents. So, and when I say President, Rolex calls that bracelet the President. They call the watch the day-date.
Okay.
They may have a new updated version of the band.
Are they it says day-date 36. Like, are there different models?
No, 36 is talking about the millimeters of the watch case. It's a 36 millimeter case.
Okay.
So that one would be one of the smaller ones. They also have the 40 millimeter and the 42 millimeter, I think. But that's not the traditional way that they've made the screws and links for the Rolex day-date presidential bracelet for the last 60 years.
Okay. Now, so let's say I'm going to a garage sale and I see this. How do I know if it's Rolex?
You don't, unless you bring it to somebody like me.
Okay. So but this is, like you were saying, it's gold, the weighted gold, whatever, how long. So you could take it to a pawn shop or a jeweler, and then they can tell you what.
A pawn shop or a jeweler, they're going to weigh it. They're going to test it to see if it's real gold. And then they're going to give you about 80% of the scrap price of the gold.
Okay.
Which on this is about a quarter of an ounce would probably be somewhere in the $500 to $600 range, just in scrap gold.
Okay. Wow. So I'm still, like I was saying earlier, you would have to take it to someone that knows watches to tell you if this is, a legit Rolex. But I don't know. I feel like if I were to take it somewhere and they're like, oh, I can offer you, I don't know. What's a good way to not get screwed over? You know what I mean?
Don't pay anything for stuff like that.
Okay.
The only time you come out ahead on when people have the watch stuff, if you're not, It's very easy to get screwed over in the watch world. There's way more fakes of high-end watches out there than there are high-end watches in existence. And at a garage sale, they can tell you anything they want. Yeah, it's real.
Yeah. This is they're over here roasting these pictures. These are This is a terrible picture.
It is terrible. I can't see that. I knew the style as soon as I saw it, and just looking at that pin, the screw, it looked more like a cotter pin to me than a screw. You were finally able to get me one picture where it showed the threads right up against the head of the screw, which I've never seen that in Rolex. However, there are some brand new models out right now that I have not yet had the pleasure of messing with. And there, believe it or not, when it comes to Rolex, there's just as many fake boxes out there as there are fake watches.
Oh, I believe it.
They fake the boxes, the warranty card, the hang tags, everything.
What do they come out with new watches every year? You know, like the 1922
In fact, it's kind of rare. Rolex has come out with more new models or revamps of the existing models in the last 10 years than they have in the last 50 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Just because people are collecting watch.
When what you have is already perfect. See what I mean?
Yeah.
These days, the only reason they're changing is because there's so many other companies out there who are selling exceedingly high-end watches for exceedingly stupid amounts of money that stay in the upper stay on top of the pyramid, and they had to do something.
This guy has only sold 2 things in the past 90 days.
Yeah, see, that's a red flag for me.
Yeah.
I am still on the fence about those.
The links.
If you handed me those links today, I'd tell you they're not Rolex.
You might be right, Rob. Like that little plastic piece that.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a little
use plastic in the construction of their watches. The one and only exception to that, and it's not plastic. It's a proprietary polymer that they call xylene, and it's actually a gasket between the crystal and the bezel on top of the watch. And the crystal being the little glass that you see through.
Gosh. Well, yeah, that's I have
you
questions
see how
on that.
The link itself, the profile of it is kind of banana shaped. Presidential links are not banana shaped.
Well, this is a different one now.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
you see that black core with the hole in it on the smaller of the links? That wouldn't be Rolex either.
Okay. Yeah, these are all terrible pictures. Yeah, I have questions.
When it comes to watches and jewelry, a terrible picture is a huge red flag.
Mm-hmm. What's a good red flag? You know, like that's my listing. That's what's a good red flag when you see a Rolex?
Okay, over the window, there's a little magnifying glass over the date.
Let's find what's a good watch that we can pull up.
Rolex Date Just.
Okay.
Date Just is all one word.
How many millimeters we're looking at here?
Doesn't
41 and 36. Okay.
Okay, pull up any one of those pictures.
All right. Let's
that
look
blue
at
dial one would be a good one.
That's not a bad price, $3,900. What do you think? Is that fair?
Pocket change.
That's a fair price on that watch. Now, do you see the magnifying lens directly over the top of the date?
Yep.
Okay, a lot of the fakes, that magnifying glass is supposed to magnify that number 3.5 times, which at that small of a focal distance is huge. So if you're holding one of these watches in your hand at a garage sale and you roll it back and forth to see the difference in size between magnified and not magnified, and there's not that much of a difference, that's a red flag. Okay. Some of the other red flags will be anything that is yellow in color, like the crown, which is the winding knob, the bezel, which is the decorative fluted piece around the crystal. The center links can sometimes be yellow. We call that a steel and gold or a two-tone. If any of that gold-colored stuff, if it's got wear on it and it's a different color in the worn areas, like it's worn through the plating, Rolex does not plate. It's solid or nothing, period. So if you see worn through plating, that's a bad sign. Sharp edges along the bottom edges, the sharp corners, Rolex doesn't do sharp corners. Their sharp corners are eased so that it may be a perfect 90 degrees, but that sharp corner has been eased. It's been ever so slightly burnished or polished off so it doesn't dig or cut or become uncomfortable.
Okay.
And that's actually, when you're talking thousands of man hours a month working on these watches, if you don't do that, you save all those thousands of man hours that you're not having to pay somebody to do some minor little detail like that. If you're creating a fake watch, you're not going to pay somebody to ease the edges.
Yeah, that's true. That's good.
One
That's good
thing
information.
If you're going to look for quality high-end watches, go to a quality high-end authorized dealer of high-end watches. Handle some of these watches. Handle them. Pick them up. Try them on. Feel them.
I'd be afraid to try them on.
Nah. Right. These watches are built to be worn. You can't hurt one
great
by
point.
handling it.
That's a great point.
If you could, they wouldn't be selling them. But go in and you need to know the difference between the feel, the heft, and the look of quality. It doesn't take long to acquire that knowledge of what quality looks and feels like. You see these Rolexes with the diamond bezels,
that's a little too flashy for me.
Yeah, and most of those bezels and dials are aftermarket fakes.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't see Rolex doing that in their watches.
No, Rolex does do that. You can get a completely blinged out. This is that's a lady's watch. It's got the presidential bracelet, but it's a date just.
I can see that, a lady.
But men's watches, ladies' watches, you can get them blinged out. But Rolex only uses colorless, internally flawless, perfect diamonds. And they have their own style of setting. They never bezel or channel set diamonds. And their diamonds will be perfectly matched, perfectly set, perfectly centered. If you're looking at it and the stones look all wonky and crazy, it's not Rolex.
So let's say Dustin, runs up on some cash. And he wants to get a Rolex. What's a good starting Rolex for Dustin to buy?
Air King.
Air King.
All stainless steel Air King Rolex. It is the
Why
most
is that?
simple because it has all the same quality of all the other lines that they make. Has the exact same movement, just not as many complications. With minimal care, getting it serviced every 5 to 6 years, that watch will last 3 generations easily. And
So something like this right here.
That's a bit older one.
Okay.
But it's simple. There's no date on it. There's nothing fancy or flashy about it. It's got all the quality, none of the flash.
Ooh, this is a Air King. This one's expensive. $8,300.
Yeah, well, it's new in box with papers probably.
So what is that? Papers?
Model.
I keep hearing that term.
Well, the papers will be the warranty card and the owner's manual, and all of that stuff will have the same serial number as the watch itself. It all comes together in one set.
Okay. Now, do you own a Rolex, Rob?
At the moment, not more than
I'm
about
sure
6
you
or
have,
7. I have several in various states of being refurbished. Most of them, though, I use as donor parts. If I get somebody who has a Rolex and they're going out of town next week, God, how many times I've heard that.
Oh,
and I need a part to fix their watch. I'll rob it out of one of mine, order the part. I'm going to charge them for the part. And when the part comes out, I'm going to put it in my watch.
There you go. Man, this is a nice blue. I like this blue one.
Yeah. You can get beautiful Air King Rolex. It's all stainless steel. So you're foregoing the expense of the gold. The stainless steel is tougher, more resilient than the gold. And these days, nobody wears gold. Everybody wants stainless steel.
I wear gold. I like a gold.
I still like gold. But for a daily wear watch, stainless steel is where it's at. Gold watch is a dress watch. The two tones are supposed to be the best of both worlds. Not really. The gold is not going to withstand the treatment of a work watch. This watch dresses up, dresses down. No bells, no whistles. All it's got is all the quality and the look.
45. Is that a fair price? $4,500.
That might be a little
2007?
much for that one. That's probably more like a $3,500 watch.
Okay. Okay.
It's been repolished. It's not a horrible price for that watch, but I think you can get the same watch if you're willing to wait a little while. You can get the same watch a little cheaper.
Signature confirmation. I would hope so, right?
Yeah. Well, these days when you sell a Rolex on eBay, you have no choice but to send it to their authenticity
Yeah,
center.
that's what this is, right?
They not only authenticate that the watch is real, but they will balance that watch against your listing to make sure that you described and pictured the watch correctly. Then they send it to the customer. And once upon a time, Rolexes were the most scammed item sold on eBay. You would sell somebody a Rolex, they'd say they didn't get it, or they'd say the watch, it was INAD, and then they would send it back and it would be a rock in a box. Well, these days, in order for anybody who buys a Rolex on eBay to return it, they have to return it to eBay first. So
Okay.
they knock the scammers completely off the board. It is impossible to be scammed on a Rolex anymore. So if they return it,
That's
they send
amazing.
it back to the authenticators. The authenticators open the watch up, look at the watch, and they make sure that nothing has been changed out, and it is the same watch that Rolex or that eBay sent to them 30 days or less before.
Okay. Nice. Now, Rob, question for you. You know, we're talking about watches. So for a guy that works on these watches for you for 30 something years, what's the benefits of having a luxury watch and what's the benefits of having a luxury watch instead of
Why
having
a
like
Rolex instead of a Timex?
like an iWatch or, you know, like an Apple Watch or something like that,
Okay.
or Samsung Watch or whatever like that?
Brand new Rolex costs $15,000-$20,000. How much does a brand new iWatch, Apple Watch cost?
I don't know. Let's say
1,200,
$500.
$500. Okay, for the same money that you can pay for that Rolex, you can buy a dozen of those Apple Watches.
Uh-huh.
When the last one of those Apple Watches is completely unusable for whatever reason, that Rolex will still be here. With minimal care, a Rolex should last 3 to 5 generations. So your great grandchildren could possibly wear your watch. And not just Rolex. Omega makes a top end watch.
Okay.
There are a lot of, Patek Philippe, Vacheron Constantin. There's a lot of very upper end, high quality watches. The key.
What's
to
your
making a
favorite?
watch my favorite. Oh man. My favorite is the old American-made Elgin pocket watch.
Elgin. Okay. How do you spell Elgin?
ELGIN.
ELGIN.
That would
Pocket
be
watch.
Elgin, Illinois, which was where it was
Ah.
originally the National Watch Company in Elgin, Illinois. But everybody just called them Elgin, so they eventually changed their name to straight Elgin. Remember the story of
these
my
are
great-grandfather's pocket watch that I had?
This was it?
This was it. It was, in fact, I have it close by. Hang on, let me see if I can lay my hands on it real fast.
Okay. All right. All right. This has been incredibly informative. Dustin, so do you have an itch to buy a Rolex?
Yeah, let me just take out a loan.
I think, dude, you can buy I think we can flip to buy a Rolex. That might be a great video. Let me make you big here, Rob.
All right. I'm going to
Well,
sacrifice.
Let's see that watch.
All right. This is my great-grandfather's upside-down pocket watch that I just dropped on my table. The thing I know how to work on them.
Oh,
All right. Let's see. There it is.
oh yeah, that's nice.
Well, as nice as that looks, let me show you what captures and creates watch collectors and watchmakers.
Look at this. Oh, that's amazing.
That's
Check
sweet.
that out.
This watch was made in 1906.
Gosh. And for the people listening to at home on the podcast, come over to YouTube and you have to check out this amazing looking watch. You work on that. That's just mind boggling to me.
This is the great grandfather's pocket watch that I never could find anybody to work on. In fact, even after I'd been working on watches for 10 years, I still didn't work on it. After doing a 5-year apprenticeship under a master Rolex watchmaker, I went to his house one day after I was no longer his apprentice, and he finally told me, and it shocked me that he told me because he had never complimented me before. He told me I was probably one of the best he had ever seen.
Wow. High
That
praise.
day I went home, I broke out my great-grandfather's pocket watch, and I refurbished it.
Wow.
So it took me roughly 15 years to get my great-grandfather's pocket watch fixed. I spent 15 years learning my trade specifically to be able to work on my great-grandfather's pocket watch.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Well, Rob, this has all been great information. And guys, I'm sure Rob will give you more great information each and every Wednesday night when he goes live on YouTube. And make sure to follow him on Instagram. His YouTube is linked down in the description below. So we got one last question, Rob, for you before we get out of here. And thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everybody here in the chat that's joining us on your Sunday evening. So I know we have a little. You talked a little bit about what you're doing here in the near future, but what are some goals that Rob has here soon? What are you shooting for, Rob?
Get more listings done.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Aren't we all?
Right? Yeah. Aren't we all, for sure? So there you go. What do you like to sell, Rob, besides watches?
Man, anything that'll fit in a 10 by 8 by 6 or smaller box and I can make 5 times my money on. And I mean anything.
Yeah.
I comp out everything. If I'm in the store and I can't find my run-of-the-mill eBay reseller fodder, I start picking up weird things and comping them out.
That's good.
It's
That's
amazing
good advice for
the
anybody.
weird $100 items I've found.
There you go. Rachel's saying Junk Monkey is great and everyone should sub. So I agree 100%. So guys, thank you so much for joining us for another fantastic episode of This Week in Reselling Podcast. I'm your host, Ray. And this concludes. Anything else for the people, Dustin?
I got nothing. Everyone have a great week. Get your listings done and get some sales.
There you go. Rob, anything else for the people?
Don't buy vintage ladies' watches. Buy everything else. And get it listed. It won't sell if you don't list it.
There you go. Fun facts. All right, guys. Thank you so much. My name is Ray.
My name's Dustin.
I'm the Junk Monkey.
There you go. And we'll catch you guys on the flip side. See y'all and God bless. Peace.
Peace.